Hey everybody, it's Sally. Before we get started in the episode, I just wanted to remind you guys that I wrote a book. I know you can't forget it because I will not shut up about it. But what you might not know is that my book, that's called Going to Maine, it is a memoir about my experience through hiking the Appalachian Trail, is available for pre-order. And pre-orders are super important to authors because it signals to the publisher, bookstores, libraries, and kind of the publishing industry at large that people are interested in your book. So if you are interested in my book, I would love if you would pre-order it. It comes out September 10th, so anytime before then would be amazing. It's available as an e-reader, it's available in paperback, and it will be available as an audiobook. You can find it anywhere that you find books. You can find it at Amazon, at bookshop.org, at Barnes & Noble, even at Target. So thank you guys so much for all of your support and enjoy the podcast.
And now it's time for the ridiculous.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list?
A list?
A list?
A list?
You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. You
Welcome to The Ridiculous. I'm Sally Brooks.
And I'm Jen O'Neill, and we're back with more fun lists for you this week. Ridiculous lists, some might say. Ridiculous lists.
People do say that. I mean, you and me. At least some people.
This goddamn leaf blower next to my window. It's like he knows.
He's like, when are those gals going to start recording? I need to blow some leaves.
Sally and I have been sitting here like dicking around on our computers waiting for this guy to stop. And it's like the second where like, I think he's, did you hear? He just took it up a notch.
He just brought a friend over. He was like, oh, I have a theory. Do you think that your leaf blower guy is the night clipper? And he's like, I'm trying to stop the news from getting out.
Yeah, probably. But here's the thing, guy, you're wasting your time because I don't have any fucking news. Because I told you my source was a bit of an information tease. And that's what she's proving herself to be.
No update yet on the night clipper?
No, I have sent multiple text messages and Marco Polo saying, I need that update. What do you mean he's back? What does this mean? What did he do? When did he strike?
Yeah.
Are there videos? And nothing.
Nothing.
I got to work harder for it, I guess.
Well, I think we will. We both have like a meeting with your source on Friday. So we will pin her down.
She won't leave the dinner until we have answers.
And we'll get her. We're journalists and we don't let our story die. We will go after it. We're going to get the scoop for you guys.
We're going to Woodward and Bernstein the shit out of her.
Who, what, when, where, how, why.
Yes. I'm going to come with one of those old school like tape recorder
things. Yeah.
Even though it's on my phone, but for dramatic effect.
Ooh, and I'll have one of those cool hats.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have a paper pad and a pencil. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk like give me the scoop, see?
Yeah. See? What do you hear?
Okay. Well, I guess, so what that means for you guys is that we don't have an update on the night clipper, but what we do have? Lists.
Great fun lists.
I'm first this week, and I found my list on everybody's favorite website, BuzzFeed. This was compiled by Hannah Martyr, and it is 25 things that people think are genuinely unlikable despite the fact that everyone seems to love them. So.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but I
So-
think you'll get us there.
So I think it's just like popular things that people are like, I don't get it. Why? And I want to know, as we go through this list, how do you feel about it? Because I think that you and I are generally of the mindset of like, hey, if you like something for you, then like, great. Who cares if I like it or not, right? Like, I don't give a
Right.
shit. Like, if you love clowns,
Tide Pods. If you love eating Tide Pods.
go for it. Eat a Tide Pod. Eat somebody's face off. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you? You do you, is what we
Cannibalism
say.
never hurt nobody.
Jen and I think our motto is now and has always been YOLO.
YOLO.
But I want to know if these are things that you like or do or understand or not, or if you feel like they are actually unlikable. So, okay. The first one is clubbing. And it says, I went out with my friends pretty often when I was younger because it was what everyone did for fun. It was such a weird relief to realize and accept that I actually didn't like it. And I honestly don't understand what people like about it.
It depends on the club.
Yeah,
like
I
all
agree.
the like the really expensive like New York City $35 a cocktail type, wait in line outside to get in sort of thing, and then pay a crazy cover to get in. That's not for me. But like MJQ was a blast.
Yeah.
And I went several times a week for many, many years. But so it just kind of depends on the club, I would say. But I don't understand the people that dress up, put on heels, and then stand in the dead of winter in a line for a long time, only to go then pay a shit ton of money to get into a place and then pay an insane amount per drink.
And then just like stand around because they can't actually move because they're like their heels are too high.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm past like in general my clubbing phase, although never say never. You know what? Like I bet there could be a club that I might like. I did a ton of clubbing when I studied abroad in Scotland because it was such like electronic music culture and like clubbing. There were so many like that was just like the culture.
What
was, like,
everybody
clubbing.
did. Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it. But yeah, I mean, the standing in line to be seen and to spend a lot of money and pay a big cover, that's never gonna be something for me. Never was when I was younger and never will be. I'm more of a dive bar gal, but if you tell me they'll be dancing, I will go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, clearly, we go to a World War II themed restaurant to dance. Regularly.
Like legit bunkers. Like sandbags on the wall. There's like in the bathrooms, they're like, well, this dispatch from the World War. The boys are coming home.
I've decided I'm tired of trying to explain it to people. Like, look, if you don't hear World War II themed restaurant where there's dancing at it and you're not intrigued by that and you want to go, I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm tired of trying to convince people. You gotta want it, and
you gotta want it.
Like it's mine and not yours. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't want it, you don't deserve it.
Exactly. I only want to go dancing with the people that are like, hell yeah, that sounds amazing.
That are like, that sounds so crazy. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I agree. I'm like, that is one of those things that it's like, if it does not sound like the most fun to you, then you are going to hate it and you can't come. You can't come because I cannot have that attitude. I cannot have you judging my happy place.
I don't want that responsibility, and I don't want to have like the emotional like labor of making sure you're having a good time the whole time. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to sell it to you. You're either on board or you're not.
I'm too busy like waving my hands in the air like I just don't care and dropping it low, and I cannot be bothered with your dissatisfaction with my World War II themed dance club
that starts at 8 p.m. and is over by midnight. Okay?
Yeah. Oh god, that's the best part. Yeah. Okay. So my number 2 is being a content creator, especially when it comes to videos or creating some kind of art. When you start, it's kind of a passion project, which is great. Ideas are fresh and inspiration comes naturally. When you get traction and find a formula that clicks, it becomes more about pushing content that generates as much traffic, likes, shares, as subs as possible. When this happens, your original ideas become more and more manufactured and less authentic, making it feel like a
Agreed.
job you hate.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. I really don't. It's changed the comedy game. It's like, now we have to do it. It's like but
Mhm.
I just can't. I don't like it. I don't want
Yeah.
to. And I feel like it dilutes all of our material.
Yeah,
You
it
know what I mean?
does.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, and then I'm curious to see what one of these like famous TikToker comedians who like are constantly putting out like what do they do for an hour on stage? What does that look
Yeah. Is
like,
it just
Because
those
you're burning your
clips?
material all day long. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
I think that's why so many of them do crowd work, because it's like, oh, I don't burn my material. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's not for me either. I really hate it. I Yeah, we've talked about this enough. I can't imagine. And I do like when I have been creating content, that feeling of like, oh, all of a sudden everything is possible content. Like, oh, I should be filming this, or I should take a picture of this, or I should be doing this, and so that then I can post this. That feeling that creeps in, you're like, oh my god, I'm fucking not paying attention to my everyday life.
Yeah.
It's so easy. And I'm like, I'm not even like, I've never been like a content creator. I've never been like somebody who's had a huge following. So that how that must feel to people who actually do it all the time, it's no wonder so many of them burn out and just kind of disappear.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to deal with the public embarrassment of like, or the embarrassment of creating content in public. You know what I
Oh, you mean
mean?
like filming where people can see you?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like there's just so much of it now that it's so cringy when you see it. Like, what is it, Influencers in the Wild? It's like,
Uh-huh.
it's a really funny Instagram account where they, show videos of people, in the middle of the street, like
Yeah.
twerking or throwing a pie in someone's face.
Or like just like bare ass twerking on a beach, like right next to a small child.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I mean, anytime I'm like just taking a picture of something, I'm like, like,
I
did anybody
know.
see me?
I
Um,
know.
I mean, I think as a whole, younger people are just much more comfortable with that.
Yeah. It's a different
Um,
world.
Different world, man. Okay, so and then people said kind of on the same note, like being famous as a whole. I said, sure, money is very good, and having fans love you is good and all, but I'm convinced that they miss their privacy.
Probably, for sure.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I wouldn't mind being like a little more famous. I wouldn't mind being more successful in like every just like, like ratchet up, like get above that hump
Right.
in most areas of my creative pursuits. I don't want to be a person who is recognizable on the streets. Like I even get
Yeah.
like embarrassed when after shows people want to come up and tell me I did a good job, and I'm like, I just performed for you. Why would I not expect that? But that feels
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah. I don't like, I wouldn't want to be recognized on the street or have to make small talk with everybody, but I would like free stuff all the time.
Yeah, take free
I'll take
stuff.
that. I'll take the free stuff all the time, and I'll take free tickets to everything. I'll take the best tables at restaurants, but like,
Mhm.
don't talk to me. How about that?
Jen's
I'm
very famous,
kidding,
but
though.
she
I'm kidding.
notoriously.
I do love when people talk to us about the podcast, and
Yes. Yeah.
since I've been
Absolutely.
doing the Bravo trivia, I love when people talk to me about Bravo. Like, that's so
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, after shows, I am a little like shy, and it's weird talking to people after shows. Do you ever get people? This happens a lot amongst my like parents, friends, and stuff, where people say like, "Oh yeah, I've been seeing you on Instagram," and then they say nothing else, and you're like, yeah. Sorry. One of my mom's friends said that to me the other day. And she goes, "Oh yeah, I see you on Instagram." And I'm
Yeah.
like, good, bad? Am I
And?
annoying? What? It's like saying like that's a haircut to somebody
Right.
that just got their haircut. It's like, yeah, I see you on there.
I see you and your little skits.
Yeah.
I had one of our like a dad in our friend group say like he was like, I finally looked up some of your comedy, and I was like, oh yeah, and then he was like, it was great, yeah, I thought it was great, but I was like, and
Okay,
like,
yeah.
you can't just say I looked up your comedy or I listened to your comedy. I was like, you gotta,
Give me
get
something.
it. give me a something. The next one that I think is overrated is American talent shows, like America's Got Talent and American Idol. Who the fuck are these shows catered to? The dialogue is cheesy, idiotic, and fake as fuck, and the structure doesn't make sense.
Agreed. I don't like those shows.
No, but it's like it's geared towards just kind of like the low.
It's family stuff.
It's
like
families,
meaning,
yeah.
It's like I get it. I watched The Masked Singer, like 8 seasons of it, because that's one show that my kids want to watch, and I can actually be like, sit back and be like, huh, I think that's Pink or whatever. You know what I mean? Or like, I think that's this person. So it's like I think it's just mildly entertaining for everyone that's watching it, right?
Yes, like it's
and
just
everyone
like
could agree on it.
it's palatable for everyone.
Yeah,
It's like nobody really loves it, but
yeah,
everybody likes it just enough. Okay, I think you and I would definitely agree with this, but it is anything that requires a wild amount of waiting in line. Amusement parks,
Mhm.
brunches at fancy places, nightclubs, etc. Like you're engaging in a barrier to make the thing seem worthwhile. I don't know. I despise lines.
Same.
Yeah,
Same. I'll wait till you open up another location. I'll wait till the hype dies down.
Mhm.
Definitely not waiting on long lines for roller coasters. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, we're not waiting people either. There's like that taco place that's near us, Indicator. Was it Taqueria del Sol? Where like there's always a line. Like no matter
Mhm.
what, there's like it opens, there is a line out the door, and I will never go there because I will not wait in line for a taco. I'm sorry. It
No.
cannot be that amazing. It's
It's
just
pretty
a line.
good.
I'm sure it's great.
pretty good, but it's not, yeah. It's
But
definitely not, yeah.
are there other tacos that are just as good that I could just like make a reservation or
Yeah,
like sit
and I'm
right
going
down?
to tell you guys a little secret, a little line waiting secret. El Tesoro in Atlanta, everybody thinks that it's just the location in Edgewood, and it's a crazy long line,
Mhm.
and it's like impossible to get a table. The tacos are amazing, but there is another El Tesoro on the West End, inside the West End Brewery, I believe. I think it's the
Oh,
West
is
End
there an El
Brewery.
Tesoro in West End
And
Brewery?
yeah, and you just
Yeah.
walk right up and you get yourself a taco and you sit on the patio or inside the huge venue. There's just like plenty of like you don't have to wait. And
Yeah.
it's like 10 minutes from the other location. Less than that.
Oh
Yeah.
God, Jen, you fucked
Yeah,
yourself
there you
now.
go. No.
No more easy tacos for you.
It's a Wild Heaven Brewery on the West End.
Okay, so this person says they hate parades. They said thousands of people collectively pretending they've never seen a fire truck before.
It
How do you
depends
feel
on the
about that?
parade. Like, it
Yeah.
definitely depends on the parade. Dragon Con Parade is amazing. I love Dragon Con Parade, but like, would I go to a St. Patrick's Day parade? Probably not. I have
love a
Irish
parade.
jigged in them. You love a parade?
I love a parade. I love a
Okay.
parade. I mean, I'm sure there are parades that I wouldn't love, but
Tell you which
yeah.
parade I can definitely leave behind is a 4th of July parade. It's too fucking hot. Nobody needs
Nobody needs it.
nobody needs a 4th of July parade.
That's true. That's true. I just went to a festival, the Inman Park Festival, and they have a really fun parade where it's just like a bunch of weird groups who like do fun stuff. And then in between all of these weird groups, like there is just like high school drill squads and drum lines. And I love that. I love high school bands.
yeah,
I love
me
a marching
too.
band. So
Mhm.
I love a parade. It's very fun. And then they hand free shit to my kid and he's happy. Love a parade.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, the happy birthday song. Everyone feels awkward singing it and awkward having it sung to them. Can we please just not?
Happy birthday song?
Yeah.
God. I don't know how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe we should come up with a new song. You know, maybe
I mean, that's what restaurants have been trying to do since the
yeah.
beginning of time.
Maybe
Like,
every person should pick their like as comedians, people always ask us like, "What's your walk-up song? Like, what do you want us to play?" And I love to say "Smack My Bitch Up" by Prodigy or "Bitch Better Have My Money" as a joke. That's my bit that I do to whoever the sound guy is. But then I say, "Oh, I don't care," and then they always play Beyonce's "Girls Run the World." Without a doubt, every time.
Every fucking time. I was
Every
just gonna
time.
say it's always
it's a lady.
it's always like Run the World. And before that, it was like all the single ladies, all the single ladies.
Oh
Was
yeah,
that.
yeah, totally.
Girls just want to have fun. I get that one a lot. And I'm just like, fucking, could you not? I always ask for dirt off my shoulders.
Oh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. But do you
Because
mean it, or is it your joke? The thing you say is a joke.
No, I mean it because I know if I don't, like if somebody asks and they really are, I usually say I don't care, whatever. Okay. But like if I think otherwise they're going to play something dumb and cheesy, then yeah. Because I just wanted to walk up to be like, now turn to the motherfucking greatest. And then I'm just like, hi. Hey, it's me, Sally.
Yeah. I think my favorite walk up was when Ween, it wasn't Ween, it was the drummer for Ween plus like a few other people were playing people they were on the stage and playing people onto the stage at the Asheville Comedy Festival. And I walked on and I was like, well, I was so like, huh? Why is he here? What's happening?
What are you doing here, Ween?
But yeah, maybe happy birthday songs should just be like the birthday person gets to pick the song that everybody sings to them. I think that would be a lot more fun.
That would be a lot more fun. And everybody has to like learn the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know listen, I don't ever claim to be a good singer, but I can tell you that Happy Birthday is not my song to sing. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't hit those notes.
So I just like, yeah. I don't think anybody's a good birthday singer song.
I can't sing Happy Birthday without sounding like Fran Drescher, I'll be honest. Like, happy birthday to you. That's what I sound
like. Okay, so I mean, I don't think that anybody loves these things, but they say long ass boring videos of their friends' kids. Also, long ass boring videos of people's pets. Also, long ass boring videos of someone's last vacation. Which, yeah,
all of those.
All of them. I'm like, who likes that? Except for the person who took the long ass video. Okay, this person says kombucha.
I love kombucha.
I love kombucha too.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't tried all of them, but you know what? I think it's a fun drink. I think it's fun. I like to pour kombucha in like a fancy glass and have it, it's like a little treat.
Oh yeah. When I take a break from drinking, I substitute it with kombucha in a wine glass. And it got the same bite. Yeah. It looks like wine and yeah. I love kombucha. I disagree.
Okay. I think this one, I know you actually do. So I'm wondering if you also, but still think it's overrated. Waking up before dawn to work out.
I mean, what's dawn anymore when you have kids, right? What does that mean? Like, I'm up. So I'm an early worker outer anyway. So yeah. I mean, I don't know if if I'm one of those 4 a.m. worker outers, but I can definitely do a 6. Yeah.
I know I did text you at like 7:30 this morning to see if you want it. And you were like, I'm already out. I was like, do you want to go to Zumba? And you're like, I'm already on my way to yoga. So no.
Yeah.
I feel like this one might be personally directed at me. This is my last one. Podcasts, radio shows, and late night TV where the hosts just laugh at everything other host guests say. Nothing is that funny for that long, dude.
Oh, ouch. I sometimes wonder that about our podcast.
Do you hate how much we laugh? Then you can fuck right off.
Well, sometimes I'm just like, is this funny to me and Sally? Because it's me talking to Sally, and whatever, or is it funny in general? And I don't know if I want to know the answer,
Nope. No.
Just shut us off, please.
All right. Well, that's my list.
I love it.
Yep.
Hannah Martyr, she's good stuff.
Good job, Hannah.
Yeah, I've used her many times. It's funny because this is the first time in a long time that I'm actually not using a BuzzFeed listicle. Yeah,
What?
I know.
I didn't know that you knew of other websites with
Listen,
lists.
there's a whole internet out there with different stuff. This actually popped up in like my feed. Like now I'm getting targeted lists. This came across my feed on Facebook, and it's an listicle for the Huffington Post. Or is it just HuffPost now? Did they change it? Is it just HuffPost? Because I don't see the word Huffington anywhere on this.
Oh, and maybe it's just
page.
The HuffPost.
On the HuffPost, by Kelsey Borison. And it's 10 divorced men on the moment they knew their marriage was over.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little dark. Let's go for it.
I know. Yeah. All right.
Number 1, when my son mentioned mommy's new friend. Yeesh. Okay. It said, I should have known it was over when she said it was dinner, that she didn't know whether she loved me anymore. I should have known it after 18 months of sleeping in separate bedrooms. I should have known it when she stopped demonstrating any positive or negative emotions towards me. I should have known it after spending a holiday weekend with our young son on a road trip that she declined to take with us. I should have known it after I saw her missing wedding ring upon returning home from that trip. I should have known it when she moved out the next day, driving away with her dude. Take it in.
Fucking let's hit you over the head with this. What is happening?
But I didn't. Still, I hoped.
Oh.
And then 2 weeks later, my son innocently mentioned a dog and some little girls he had been playing with. They belonged to mommy's new friend. Did you have a sleepover at mommy's new friend's house? Yes. I never knew a one-word answer from a child would be so lethal and life-changing. I thought I might die right then. That's when I knew. Matthew. Dear sweet Matthew.
Oh.
I'm willing to bet that if you talk to Matthew's ex-wife, she's like, we were literally divorced.
Like I told him
I gave
so
him
many
papers.
times.
He signed them.
I
lived
told him
in a different home.
I was remarried.
Yeah. I died 30 years ago.
Ooh, I'm a ghost.
Like, wow. Okay. Sorry, Matthew.
Oh, Matthew. I'm sure it was hard, buddy, but I hope you've gotten some
I
therapy.
hope you've moved on. I know. He's now contributing to a list. It's like, the moment I realized that I had a girlfriend, and she was like, I've been living here 6 years.
His kid's like, I'm 25.
You've met my parents. This one says, number 2 is when she said, I hate you, and meant it. Like the end of most marriages, mine included a lot of dominoes tipping into the next, but there always seemed to be that first domino that starts the process. My ex-wife made arguing an Olympic sport. During one fight over something I can't even recall, she looked at me red-faced and yelled, I hate you. And I knew she meant it. There's no coming back from that 4-letter word. Bill. Agreed. And that's why I think it's so important to, like, I'm very, like, going forward in new relationships, I'm so averse to any kind of fighting. And, like, I don't want that to start ever.
Yeah.
Because once you start to where you're not a team and you're fighting against each other, then everything's lost, is how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, if we can't have a conversation and solve something together as a team, then it's like I don't know how you go from there.
Right. Yeah. When you're like, when you see it as me against you and like I want to win this fight, then like, yeah, you're fucked.
This one says, when I realized sleeping in the guest room was better than sleeping next to my wife. One typical winter day, I came down with some horrible sickness and quarantined myself in the guest bedroom to avoid spreading my plague to my wife. After I recovered, I realized I preferred staying in the guest room. I'm still a strong believer in the fact that most people sleep better alone, but it does create a literal separation between the couple. Then I started noticing other differences and changing in us as individuals in our marriage. But if I had to pinpoint one moment, it's the moment I quarantine our marriage. We both survived and are thriving. However, our marriage stayed in the quarantine and didn't make it out. Adam.
Mm.
Like I've heard both sides. I know couples that sleep in two different rooms and say it's the best thing that ever happened to their marriage because
Yeah.
then it made like being together more intentional and they
Mm-hmm.
actually have more sex sleeping in different rooms
And they're
because
well rested.
yeah, they're well rested, they're happy,
Yeah.
there's no resentment, but then also it's like if one person goes into the other room and it's nighttime, you're like,
Right.
oh, okay. Versus like if you're sleeping next to the same person every night for 15, 16 years, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it can just be like just another night, you know?
Right.
So I totally get what he's saying. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
two sides, like can work for some people and not for other.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that like deciding to sleep apart is a sign of a broken marriage, but I do think that, I mean, for some people that probably does feel like, oh, I no longer enjoy being with the person.
Right.
Yeah.
This person's number 4, when her dream house was more like a nightmare to me. After we sold our first home, we were looking for new houses. I had a couple that I really liked, but she was stuck on this one house and kept coming back to it. I hated that house. It was hideous inside, untouched since 1978. The wallpaper. Not in the town I wanted to live in, and nothing about it tempted me. When we walked in the front door for a showing, I watched her face light up like I hadn't seen in years. She walked around wide eyed from room to room, and in the face of all the horrible decor and issues with disrepair, she told me it felt like her forever home. I put aside my own wants and we made an offer the same day. Now I had been a subscriber to Happy Wife, Happy Life, but this was different. In some sad and serene part of me, I knew I wasn't going to be in that house for forever, but I wanted her to have it for her. It was in that moment that I knew I still loved her, but that it was done. I spent the next year remodeling that house on nights and weekends, and roughly about when it was done, we split. She still has the house, and I'm happy for that. That's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like in my mind, I'm like, okay, you fucking murder. Like, or you
Yeah.
you let her have this house because you wanted her to have this house and you knew you were going to leave her. It's not, I mean, I'm like wondering what the real story is behind that because it sounds like a person making a lot of excuses
Yes.
and like being like, I'm the good guy here. I remodeled the house and then I left her. And I never, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just projection.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And it does seem like he went through a lot of the motions without ever expressing his real feelings, and then they
Yeah.
turned into resentments.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but like a house isn't like that. I don't know. I just have such a hard time being like, that's the end of the marriage. You just don't want to live you don't like the same
Yeah.
kind, you don't have the same decor taste like that.
Yeah.
That seems fishy.
Yeah. I'm going to jump around because 10 is a lot to do and
Yeah.
we don't have so much time. Okay, this one says number 6, when my wife's divorced friends convinced her we were doomed. When my wife spent most of her free time with other divorced women, she had
Mm.
already moved into the guest bedroom and was disengaged at counseling, but the real force pulling her away was her friends telling her it was her turn. There's an old saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Fuck right off. I'm sorry. You
Yeah,
were
your
already in
friends.
counseling. She was already in the guest room. Like, what happened to get there? And then she
Yeah.
met friends who had a better life, quality of life. Fuck off.
Sounds-
Why do you
Yeah.
think she was hanging out with those divorced people? Because she was like, oh, I want you to tell me that it's okay on the other side. Like, that's what.
Yeah, it sounds to me like he's taking no accountability for what
Right.
the real issues are. And he's
Oh,
like, it's
so-
your friend's fault.
So
Yeah.
bitch friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 7, when I didn't care enough to try anymore. While it didn't feel altogether different that time, the weeks leading up to my divorce were more strained and frustrating than in times we had fought before. As I look back on it now, however, I realized that even I had given up. I was no longer trying. What had once been a challenge for us to overcome together became a battle for us to fight of one another. The
Mm.
realization hit me pretty hard that night as I lay in bed for a few hours after she asked to take a break. By the time she revealed she wanted a divorce just a day and a half later, I had already recognized that this was it. We were done. I was done. It hurt, but I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That sounds like the ending of a marriage.
Right. Yeah.
And
Right.
like two people realized it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one says, you're going to love the title of this one already, Sal. It's When I Justified Her Bad Behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read and then we'll judge. Okay. The first time I brought up the fact that our relationship wasn't going to work, she broke my headphones. That is rude. Okay, I'm back on Team Tom. His name's Tom. Okay.
I'm reserving judgment.
Yeah, okay. I think deep down inside I knew the relationship wouldn't last early on. She would lose her temper quickly, becoming increasingly paranoid and jealous, and yell a lot. I kept justifying anything bad that happened. I had no escape. At least that's how it felt at the time. I was afraid to leave for fear of being hurt or stalked or humiliated in front of peers. Tom.
Yeah, I mean that's an abusive relationship, right?
Yeah,
Like
so-
that's like when
Agreed, Tom.
somebody is like using like intimidation and yelling and violence, like breaking things, and you're
Yeah.
afraid to leave because you don't want to be stalked. Like, yeah, that's an
Yeah.
abusive relationship, and I'm glad you left, right?
Me too. I'm glad you got out,
All right,
Tom.
Team Tom.
Team Tom. Okay. This last one. When I realized we weren't even fighting, we were just avoiding each other. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, classic sign, right? That it's over.
Yeah.
It was a long series of events and decisions that slowly led to the final demise. When we were holding hands in public, when we stopped holding hands in public, when we no longer did date nights together, when we started to confide in others rather than our spouse, when we started to feel like the other person was an obstacle to our happiness rather than an advocate for it, that is so important. Unlike a lot of couples, we never fought, but we just gradually learned to avoid each other. And little by little, it led to a decision to end it. By the time I really saw the signs and understood what they meant, I felt like it was already too late.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, right, like indifference, that's like almost worse than fighting. It's like, oh, I just don't even think of you. Like that would like kill me.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Someone, if Ben was like, I feel like if I wasn't married to you, I could be happy. Like, shit, please go be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
So,
All
yeah,
right,
that
well,
was
guys.
a little heavy. We got to shake that off.
All right. Well, let's do our top 5 list.
Okay. Yeah.
It's nice this week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This will warm you right back up, you guys.
Okay, so this week we are going to do our top 5 glimmers. And I saw this phrase somewhere, but it is like those small things that just make you feel happy and warm. And it like I've seen it described as like the opposite of a trigger. So it's like something kind of just little that you see and you're like, oh, okay, bring a smile to my face, or made you feel at peace, something like that.
So my little thing that I love, number 5, is I love when my daughter, she if I'm like sitting and talking to people, or if I'm sitting down, she comes behind me and hugs me, and she gives me little neck hugs, and then she'll play with my hair while I'm talking. And I'm like, I'm talking, Louise. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, I love it. It's just very sweet, and it's like, it's the cutest thing ever. And I love my little Louise hugs. And yeah, she's very affectionate, which I love.
Yeah, Max is too. And I'm like, I know my days are numbered, but like, he's like such a snuggler.
He might always be. I know people who have boys that are
Yeah.
still snuggly, but I saw this meme the other day that was like, why does texting with my 13-year-old feel like I'm texting with a guy that's about to break up with me? And it made me laugh so hard, because it's like, hey, sweetie, have a great day. I love you so much. And then it's like, okay. that's my son right now. He's totally in his teens. And I'm like, bye, Sally. I love you so much. Have the best day. He's like, yeah.
It is so funny because he's such a sweet pea. Like,
he is,
but he's also a teenager. Ugh,
I know.
it's crazy.
I know, teens.
Okay, so I want to say I didn't do any about my husband or my child, even though they
Okay.
bring me immense amount of joy.
Oh, did I make you feel guilty?
You did make me feel guilty. I was like, oh
Sorry.
shit. I guess I'm just indifferent. I don't know to them. No. Okay, my number 5 is having the first sip of coffee in the morning, or just
Oh,
like the
yeah.
first sip of a cup of really cold water.
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's
those
good stuff.
things just bring me just that
So
a
much
little amount of
joy.
joy. I always am happy when it's happening.
That's a good one.
Hmm.
My number 4 is in the wintertime, my weighted blanket. There's nothing like getting in my bed under a weighted blanket, just like
Yeah.
when it's been really cold outside after a long day. It's the
Yeah.
best.
I'm feeling your bones slowly get
Break.
crushed.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is sitting on a porch anywhere and hearing the wind in the trees.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
will add as a caveat, like preferably with like a nice crisp glass of wine and or a very cold beer. But I'll take it however.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was my number 3. I was going to say my oat milk lattes in the morning that I make with my
Yeah.
espresso machine, but I do want to add that I just discovered these new lattes, but unfortunately it's at a place and you have to go and get them, so it's a treat.
Yeah.
But I went on a date recently to this really amazing. I know I'm not going to say who it is because it's still very new. But he took me to this place. It's called the Salty on the Beltline, and they make
Oh,
cereal milk oat milk lattes. So it's like cinnamon toast crunch,
yeah.
like flavored lattes, and they're just like the most heavenly thing. They're amazing. And the trick is
Okay.
at the bottom it gets real sweet. So then you get a regular cup of coffee at a different place and you pour it in, and then you have 2.
And then you feel
Yeah.
so excited.
I know, it's so good.
And then you're hurting. You're like, why can't I sleep? And I don't know.
Um,
That's my go-to drink is like, I mean, in the morning I just drink like straight coffee, but then if I get an afternoon drink, it's an oat milk latte with honey.
oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay, so my number 3 is, and this happened to me today, which made me think of it, is that I was driving in my car and I looked over at the car next to me and the person was like singing, so
I love
like
it.
totally singing their heart out. And I was like, oh, it makes me so happy. I love that so much. It made me,
That's a
yeah.
good one. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. My number 2 is sorry, Dustin Harder, but it is red wine and a bite of steak, like a bite of steak and a sip of red wine
Yeah.
together. Not all the time, but every once in
Mm-hmm.
a while. I especially love sitting up at a bar with someone, like sitting at the bar and sharing steak and wine with someone. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
that
good.
is. I still have like Ben and I, when we were very early in our relationship, we went to Toronto and we went to this one like tapas place and they had we got a tapa that was, we were sitting at the bar. It was like a tiny little place. We were sitting up at the bar and it was like steak, with a fried egg on top. And it was just like the best steak.
Oh
And we had a
yeah.
glass of wine and we were sitting and then we were sharing it. And I was just like, oh my, this is like the best bite I've ever had. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I like have such like a bright memory of that.
There's a place in Atlanta called Whoopsies, and on Friday and Saturday they do prime rib. And I went with my friend Cy, and
Hmm.
we sat up at the bar and had red wine and
Yeah.
steak, and we were sitting there eating it together. Like, this is like, why do we think this is a thing we have to do on dates, like with guys? We're like, we
Right?
need to eat more steak and drink more wine together. And then we were like, let's make a wine and steak club. And then we like came up with this whole idea to like invite women over to my backyard for wine and steaks. But yeah, it's like it doesn't have to be a date thing.
No.
You get it if you want to. Go get
create
that
some
steak.
fucking
We work
steaks.
hard.
Okay, so this is actually like pretty related to like my last one and to just our podcast. But I love when I'm somewhere and I just hear like a group of girlfriends laughing really hard at something.
Oh,
I mean,
I love that.
I love
Yeah.
being in a group of girlfriends laughing hard because I feel like I don't ever laugh harder than with like
Mhm.
my girlfriends, where you just have those like I'm crying, my belt, like belly hurts from laughing. But I love like just seeing like a group of friends all laughing together.
Yeah, there really is. Like, I don't know that you can, I don't know. I'd like to say that there's a guy out there that like that would make me laugh like that, but it's like, but I feel like those kind of belly crying laughs really only come from your girlfriends,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good one. And that
I feel
makes
like
me
I
so
will be
happy
remiss
too,
if
yeah.
I don't say that Ben and
Ben
I
makes
do
you
have,
laugh.
he does make me
he's
laugh. We
good.
do have lots of like where we just like we giggle together quite a bit. But
That's great.
so.
Listen, we all know Ben's great. You don't have to keep
I know, but he
saying
also
it. We
like listens to
know.
the podcast, so
I
gotta be
know.
cool.
And I think Ben's heard enough over the years of us saying how great he is. We get it, Ben. You're the best. I'm kidding. I absolutely love Ben. He is the best.
So what is your number one glimmer?
My number one glimmer, and I guess like maybe this isn't quite what we're doing, but my glimmer is I love making my grocery store list. I like reading through cookbooks and making my grocery store list on Sunday mornings specifically.
I think
my
that's
routine.
totally it. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's like such like a small act that brings you joy. I love that.
And I guess other people would think of it as like a chore, but it's like I love to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my number one is seeing a rainbow is my number one. Yeah. So when my mom passed away, you know this, but for the listener, when my mom passed away, we had her memorial, and it was just this like the shittiest day. It was like windy and cold, and we were at the beach, and it was so hard to like, we were doing a memorial service. It was so hard to like hear anyone. It was just like a miserable day, right? So she wanted her ashes spread in the water. So we walked down to the beach. My brothers and I were all just like, oh my God, we're getting ready to spread her ashes. And like, as we're walking out there, my mom's best friend, Barbara, said a couple words. And then as we're like walking out to spread her ashes, this like huge rainbow came over the sky. Like it looked like
so amazing.
We were just like, what the hell? This is crazy. And then it's funny because like this rainbow came, and then we were right by like a port, like where cruise ships go out of. And so as the rainbow came, and then like a Disney cruise went by, and we're like, this is like Disney created. And then we're like, don't look, we're, sprinkling some ashes. I think it's illegal. But so now we always like, every time I see a rainbow, I'm like, hey mom, and then like people will like send me pictures of rainbows.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, whenever I see a rainbow, that's what I think of. And
and I love that. Yeah,
I love that too. That's great. I feel like we should also say ours together, our thing.
Yeah,
is when we see a 555.
Yeah,
I don't know why Sally and I have always had this saying that we think we keep seeing the number 555 everywhere, and we'll like text it to each other.
Like something's coming,
and it means a change is coming. But Sally and I like to think that it means like we're about to become real fucking famous.
Yeah, I always just think like when I see it, like if I see it, I'm like, I'm on the right track. I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah,
something's going. Something I'm doing is right.
Something's happening.
Something's happening. I don't know what, but it's happening.
And then COVID happened, and we were like, oh, that was it.
What is
it? Something did happen.
Oh.
A change came. No, but there's going to be something better. There'll be something better. Something good's coming. Yeah.
Something good's coming. All right. Well, you guys, we want to hear from you. Tell us, what are your glimmers? I would love to hear what are the small things that you guys see or do throughout your day that bring you just like that little bit of joy.
Yeah.
Jen, we want to know, like, if you've been divorced, what was the moment you knew? And also, what are some things you think are overrated? You can find us on Instagram at The Ridiculous Pod. You can find us on TikTok at The Ridiculous Podcast. You could rate and review. You could tell a friend. We would love that.
Yes, we would love all those things. Thank you guys so much for listening and sharing and telling all of your friends. And we'll see you next week on The Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridic. You there.